Well. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Well,
evening.
it's evening here.
So, and Teresa's afternoon snack time. What are you having for your snack, Teresa?
Raisins. I'm just choking on them.
Raisins. I don't know why that amused me.
Because I have nothing in my pantry.
The cupboard was bare. You know what? You should look into sourcing some replenishables.
You can hit him, Theresa.
She will.
I will.
Amy Honeycutt has a running list of people for me that I get to slap when I see them. Mostly it's Brian Hargis, but there are a few other people on it.
She keeps track of this for you?
It's like a running joke at Mastermind.
Oh. All right. Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wednesday List Perfectly Reseller Tips with TnTnD, TnTnD. We are here. We're excited to talk to you about and get your input on pricing your products competitively. I had to practice that one. Pricing your products competitively.
Well, it's interesting because I think Theresa and I probably have a very different business philosophy on that.
We do everything in our business differently.
It is. It's true. I know that, but that's why we're good to talk about things because we're not the same.
Yin and yang, two faces to a different coin, two sides to a different coin. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We love that. We love comments. We love shares. If you're really enjoying yourself, please share. Ding, ding, ding. And we want you to chime in too with questions or comments. And obviously, we've got two very experienced sellers and then someone who has sold. So I have sold, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm the Dennis Miller of the show. I provide random, occasional color commentary. But what's up, Curator of Thrift, Todd? Nice to see you here. Ed's here. Ed, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. It's probably pretty good timing for Ed. Kathy, what's up? Melissa W., thanks for coming back. Clevered 97, ladies and gentlemen. Theresa Cox, 20-something year eBay seller. 6-figure. Debbie Vidal, what's up? H-Win, what's up? Luxury on a Dime. Desiree, nice to see you.
Trish, I just saw all of these people in a listing party a half hour ago. Don't these people have work to do?
Yeah. How can you shut up and list if you're at all these different things? But no, we thank you for being here. I feel like Theresa and Trish have different pricing policies.
Absolutely.
I believe they do. Exactly. All right. Well, let's get started, ladies. So we're talking about reselling products to ensure profitability and competitiveness. So obviously, you got to pick out the stuff. You got to do the research your products, research your listings. Let's talk about that. Talk about that for a bit. Like, what's your philosophies there and how do you do that?
Well, we're talking about once we own it, right? So we're just talking about, you already own this. We're not deciding whether we want to buy it or not. We already own it. So then at that point, what do you do? Debbie says she's all over she's over all of you.
She keeps coming back for more.
So for me, I have a higher, I try to have a lower price point. What's that noise?
Who's typing?
Oh, it's typing. I didn't know what it was. So for me, I think like I try to have a lower price point. I don't want to be the highest. When they look it up, I don't want to be the highest. If it's something that's an everyday thing. Now, if there isn't many of them, then I'm going to price high. But if it's, Levi's jeans, size 12, women, boot cut, and there's a middle of a million of them, I want to try to have the best listing I can and get up the top, but I don't want to be the most expensive. So I'm going to go through and see what the sold comparables are, and I'm going to price accordingly to that.
And that's because so what I know, like Trish is a volume seller, so she does that, but and tight margins, right? You would say?
Yeah, Absolutely.
And then Theresa is interesting because Theresa, I know, buys stuff year round and looks for deals and does crazy stuff like sells upside down, weirdly colored Christmas trees to Australia when they're big on the trends. So just very, very different. So tell us
Well,
about your philosophy there, T.
my philosophy is that you do 90% of the work is done when you list it. So, and I'm not selling stuff that has, 300,000 pairs of Levi jeans in it. So I'm selling, no, everybody knows my secret. I go to Walmart after Halloween and Christmas and buy their stuff at 90% off. And then if it has a $12.98 Walmart price on it, I list it for $34.99 because nobody knows that it's $12.99 except for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then I have a lot of room. I can mark it down 30%. I can take an offer. I can do all that sort of stuff. So for me, I am buying stuff for pennies, but I'm not buying it in bulk like Trish is. I don't fill my van full of clothes. I am a little more selective per se, but I think that that's the difference is I'm not selling stuff that has where I think there's a 300,000 listings of the same thing.
Well, and just think about too is like, what's it? I'm in California, Teresa's in Arizona, Trish is on the moors in Boston, the ancient moors. What's that? Her target is different than mine. If I'm looking for a Duran Duran t-shirt at Target, you guys might have it at yours, and I might not have it at mine, which is very likely.
And
But
I just want to say, Theresa said something about being able to put it down. I price everything up high, but I consider a 30% sale. So I plan on it being on sale for 30% off. So I take that into my calculations. So when I price, when I sell something without that 30% off sale, like it shocks me every time. I'm always shocked by the fact that somebody would pay for this Walmart shirt, whatever I put on it. So that 30% off is what my base number is.
all right.
Yeah, and I don't have any problems. Like a lot of people won't put Holiday Time or Walmart brands. If it's a brand, I put it on there. I have no qualms about putting that brand on there because there's a lot of people just by principle will not walk into a Walmart. So they don't know what the Walmart brands are.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
And yeah, that's true. And somebody looking for something specific. Yeah. Specific brands.
I'm going for the ones that are looking for a royal blue tree skirt with flipping glitter on it.
It's not just glitter, it's flipping glitter.
Yeah.
Your trade winds buyers.
So, yeah. Theresa, do you consider your buy cost when you do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, you make your profit when you buy an item. And so, but there are people that just because Walmart sells it for $12.98 and they buy it for $3, they think that they should sell it for $10, and that's great. And I don't. I think if I buy it for $3 and Walmart sells it for $13, I got to go to Walmart. I got to drive there. I got to find it. I'm going to charge you a premium for being able to sit at home on your pajamas at 2:00 in the morning and order it for me.
I would like to go on record as saying I sell things above what they originally cost all of the time. I do agree with Theresa. I don't want to make it sound like I think if I have a Walmart top, which I sell a lot of Walmart tops, mostly plus size, I will say that. If I sell a plus size Walmart top and it's used, for most times I'm selling it for more than it originally sold in the store. So I definitely agree with that. It's just how it's only worth, for me anyways, it's only worth what it's worth, right? It's only worth what somebody's going to pay for it. And I don't want to sit on the stuff. I try not to. I used to have 14,000 items. My daughter is slowly dwindling it. I'm down to 12 something at the moment. But out of those 12,000 items, I want to be sending some out the door multiple times a day. So I don't want to sit on it for very long.
Yeah. And I think for me, I had somebody reach out to me with an offer on eBay. I had a pair of shoes. I paid $19.99 for them. But when I looked them up, they're $200 shoes, $240 shoes. So I have them listed at $199. And he offered me $90 because somebody else had them on sale for $90. I said, then buy them from him. He's like, well, he only has an 11.5 and I need an 11. I said, okay. The most I will go is 20% off. Like, I know these shoes will sell for $200.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm not going to, I mean, I don't need to flip it that fast. I only have $20 into it. You know, if I had $100 into it, no, I wouldn't sell it I wouldn't sell it to him for 200 if I had $100 into it.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, some of this goes by, right? Like how much money you're willing to sit on while things are selling and what your cash flow is. You know, and I really think that a lot of people don't know their numbers well enough. So when you're in this business, really understanding what you have in inventory, what you have coming in, what you have going out, really then can help determine what you're going to take for an offer and how low you're willing to go. Because if you need the money out to keep it going, then you're not pricing right at the get-go, right? If you're constantly having to pull stuff out, right? You know what I mean, Theresa?
Yeah, and if I was, I mean, I know plenty of resellers that, you know, they need the flip because they need the income, they need the money to go buy new stuff. And I think that I don't think I've ever been in that situation because I did it part-time for so many years where I had a full-time job, and my full-time job was, you know, working in a university, and this was my fun job. And now I've built it up to where, you know, I'm listing still, most of my listings are stuff from my house, my mom's. I've got some stuff that I did a big bulk buy last year of, I think it was $7,000 for a bunch of stuff. I haven't recuperated that, but I didn't need that. So all of those things, when people are looking at this, you can't look at Trish and I and where we are in our journey 20 something years and go, oh, well, how come I can't do that? Because maybe you are a younger seller and you've left your job and you're trying to do this and you're trying to pay your bills and you haven't built up that passive income stream. You know, and some of my passive income streams have just been ridiculously by chance.
Well, and for me, when I first started this, I did need the money out. And so that is why I priced aggressively, right? So the newer you are at this, the smaller amount of inventory you have, the smaller amount of money that you have to invest, you have to be more aggressive in how you do it. And for me, that meant I wasn't willing to sit on things longer. I needed them to sell. So would I undercut the guy at the top? Yes, because I wanted to sell it before him. And it would do a couple of things, right? We're always talking about building velocity. That is one way to build some velocity within your store, is if you're constantly selling, because eBay will see that. I'm just talking eBay at the moment. eBay will see that and push some, hopefully more things your way because they like velocity. And so for me, when I needed the money, pricing became even more of a thing. I needed to make sure my pricing was on point or under, right? If I could, I can't tell you, for years and years and years and years, I would sell things to other sellers who were willing to sit on them. And I wasn't, because I needed the cash to be able to keep this going. And so there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know your numbers.
But I also am not one. There are in my opinion, too many sellers in this community that think because they shop and they are price driven for everything, they think that's the only way a shopper shops. And I do not. My price is probably the fifth or sixth thing I think about in my listing. And I regularly will sell something and I'll go do a search on eBay and I'll find 17 other items that are priced less than mine are. And so I know that just because we know how to sort by lowest to high pricing, the majority of the marketplace that's looking for our stuff does not, because the lower price doesn't always sell. I used to do these all the time. This sold today for $150. Look at these 27 other listings of the same shoe and the same size that are listed anywhere from $20 to $50. Why did mine sell?
Well, I mean, I think that this is, in my opinion, I think what you just said, while it's true, I also think that in some categories it's less true. And in some categories, I think it's even more true. There are some categories, high-end categories, that I think price is like the last thing that matters. You know, it's photos and the quality of the listing and how your feedback is. And if somebody has the discretionary income that they're going to spend, they care less about price and more about everything else. For me, And what I know my customers were, I know I was a price driven used clothing. I believe used clothing, everyday used clothing, not vintage, not high end, everyday crap, I think is driven by price personally.
And let me just hop in real quick because I was thinking, I know you're going to laugh. It's funny. It is funny. But I was thinking about this literally last night ladies and gentlemen, I was pulling the trash cans in and I was looking at my bins and I have quite a bit of stuff to sell, but I think I was thinking about it's like, it's not like that, not like I don't need the money. I could definitely use it. And then but my pricing is like, I will research like what the stuff sold for and then price it like right in there.
Yeah, that's what I do too also.
Yeah, I don't factor in it like I don't think back to what this cost me, and I don't factor in like the cost of the shipping supplies and all that. But I've got quite a bit of inventory, but I just need to get it listed.
Well, I mean, for me, the buy cost factors in only in the sense of that I know that my buy cost is low that it doesn't really matter, if you know what I'm saying. If I was doing higher volume things like Theresa, if Theresa had $100 into a pair of sneakers or golf shoes, would she take 200 or whatever you just said? Then that's real money. I'm talking about, under $5, way under, usually under $3, most of the time under $2. So when you're sitting on $2, it's not the same as worrying that that you have so much money in it to pull back up.
And for me, I mean, a lot of my listings in my 6,000 listings are my personal belongings still. And so there's zero into that. I mean, my cost is what I paid somebody to photograph and list it.
Right.
And so the thing that I liked, because I do think that two things that I think that way too many resellers do. And I think that they think that shoppers know how are just looking for the lowest price, which I think that is wrong. And the other thing is that I think sellers tend to devalue their stuff because there's a flaw. And somebody says, well, I saw one on here, new condition and box and everything, and it was $150, but mine doesn't have a box. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to list it for $160 because maybe that other guy didn't have it. But here's the thing. You can list it for $160. If nobody else has it, maybe somebody doesn't care if there's a box or not. But people assume if it's not perfect, it devalues it. And what I like to say is that you need to price it for the rarity of it, or the fact that, yours is going to be buy it now, someone else is going to be a 10-day auction. And, I just think that people devalue stuff too much because it's not perfect.
Well, real quick, it's like the books I buy. It's like I got a couple this week and there were old National Lampoon books collections that I'd kind of been looking for. And it's like I got one yesterday. The front cover's bent a little bit, so it's not in perfect condition, but I just want to read it and then I'll probably give it away or pass it on or resell it.
You will resell it because you are a reseller, and that is what we do. We buy books, we read them, and then we list them for sale.
I got to do that. And that you'll be proud if you could see the shelf. I've cleaned out some stuff. I'm putting it out there. I'm going to really narrow down the books.
Any day now, Doug.
Any day now, any year now. So a few comments I want to get to. What Ed says, what about people like me who just get things because it's a good deal and only score once a week at a part-time rate? It's like, do what you can, right?
Yeah. I did it for years and years, 15 years part-time. It works. It works. I mean, you source when you can. And for me, sourcing was, going to Marshall's and buying red salt and pepper shakers for $3.99 and think that I really figured it out. I'm going to sell these $15. Yeah.
Well, that's like, first of all, we'll get to that in a sec. Where's the red performance lipstick? What is that? Is that you, Trish, we're talking about?
Maybe.
We don't know, right?
Because earlier they said when I wasn't home, I always had red lipstick on. And I was like, oh no, I put red lipstick on every time I put on makeup. But Kathy, it's pouring out and my pocketbook was in the car. So I had to go with a shade that I had in the house.
It's a merge. She had to, not many people know this, but there is a glass case behind Trish that was hidden up until this afternoon. It's an emergency lipstick case that she had to break into.
It's true. purposeful. I'm answering you in chat just so you can see it. You need to go to Listing Party.
Listingparty.com.
And he can help you, and you get to go. Yeah. So you need to go to listingparty.com. We have a 411 class every single day. Pat is there. He can get this all. You can help. You can go in. You can share your screen. He can help you. So listingparty.com. It's the same credentials as List Perfectly.
I'll get to that. I just want to keep up on the comments as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. And I think that people, you know, when you sell something and you think that you've priced it too high, the day that it sells, just go on the platform it sold and search for that very same item and see how many other items are there that are priced lower than yours. And you're going to go, oh, there are way more people that aren't shopping by price than there are shopping by price.
Here we go.
Look at you, fancy with the Listing Party handle. Is that you, Doug?
Yes.
You fancy.
There's no other. It's worse floating on a what are those things called? A dinghy. We're floating on a dinghy all our own.
Well, you have the Listing Party logo and List Perfectly logo. I'm pretty impressed.
We are.
That's a lot of balls you got in the air, Doug.
Thank you so much. We are streaming, ladies and gentlemen, multiple spots, and I think I'm going to add some more because we can also now stream to our individual pages. So you can see us, you can choose, and then we can see who you like the best.
Well, we all know it's you, Doug.
No, that's probably not true.
So I almost said Diane. I almost said, hey, Di. Hey, T. Do you consider, do you calculate profit margin, or do you not even worry about that?
Well, it depends. If I do a bulk buy, absolutely. But if I've been doing the Ross Marshall run for so many years now and I just mostly do the low hanging fruit. When we get into, because I don't really shop a lot, Q4, I have some items that I really like and do well in Q4. Then I have my little ring scanner and my phone app, and I do all the things. And most of the stuff I will take, and some stuff I won't. I'm an Amazon seller that, doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to sales ranking, but I do sometimes. So yeah, it's very different. I think this conversation would be great if we had somebody that this was their job and they needed to make X money to pay their bills each month, and they needed Y money to go back and buy more inventory. And, very similar to a Katie and Vicky scenario, where this is their business. This is what they have to use to pay the rent and all that stuff. And so how do they do that? Because I do it by keeping because I was a fund accountant for 30 years, I have buckets of money. So my reselling account is in this account, and then I use that credit card to buy and sell things and pay my minion, and that's all contained in that thing. So I think that it just depends on, and my household money is over here, so I have money to pay my mortgage over. So I know that it's a lot, and I know most people won't do this, but it's just what I did for 30 years for a living. So that's what makes sense for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, I was a full-time seller before I started working for List Perfectly. So I've only not been a full-time seller now for like a year and a half. And my business is still full-time. I just don't do it. Someone else does it. So for me, for a very long time, my husband is a very nice boy. See, I'm going to say boy again. And Brian Hargis isn't here to make fun of me, but he's a very nice guy. But he's a 9-to-5er, right? Like, he goes to Marriott and he works and he gets insurance and he has a 401k and he feels very good about that. And I've always been entrepreneurial and I've always worked for myself and always hustled. And for me, I always tried to make all of our money through what I did so that I could bank what he did. That was kind of like my idea, right? So for a very long time, all of the money if we wanted it, it had to come from reselling. I wasn't touching the money unless I absolutely had to.
Nice.
Yeah. And like we funded his 401k to the max. Like we did all the things that we could do because we were trying to make up for some lost time that happened when he got out of the military and then during the pandemic. So there was like a period of time that I felt like we needed to make up for. So I was very aggressive in the way that I ran my business, which probably ran over to pricing. I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't really thought about it, but I was very aggressive in what I bought and what I sold. And I think I was very aggressive in my pricing structure. I wanted to sell and I didn't want to sit on things. And, if I wasn't sending out 200 items on a Monday, I felt like, what did I do all weekend? And so, could somebody make more money than me and have a higher pricing structure? Absolutely. But it just wasn't what I fell into. I mean, I fell into used clothing, wasn't what I would have picked. And if I would start over again, it wouldn't be what I would do. So I think some of it is where you are. What's your niche? I had a conversation with Kat, the nurse flipper, today for quite a while, talking about how her niche is kind of changing and like how she's looking at different things and looking at the price market and thinking maybe, things like that. And you can only do that. You can only have those conversations with yourself if you really know what your numbers are, if you really know what you're spending, if you really know what's in all your buckets, like Theresa was just talking about. But you can also have those conversations only when you're secure enough that you're feeding yourself and you have money coming in. Because when you cannot feed yourself, when your lights aren't on, when you're worried about your housing, at that point you're just trying to make sure you're selling enough to keep it going. And so I think you just need to figure out a way to get in the middle. So then you can really look and see, am I doing this right? Am I making the right decisions?
Yeah. And there was a time when I was living in the big house and I had been laid off from a job and it was summer. So it's constantly having people visiting me for 3 to 6 weeks at a time and all that sort of stuff, where I was listing and selling because, yes, at that point in time, my mortgage payment and my car payment, everything was relying on the money that I was bringing in from reselling. And when those were the days, I transferred my money out of my PayPal every Sunday evening and figured out. Sometimes I would pay part of my mortgage because I wasn't sure if I'd make the rest of it before the end of the month. And I mean, we all do all kinds of stuff. And I was trying to get more listings. So I was thrifting, which I was doing okay at, but I didn't enjoy it. So I didn't do that much. I mean, this is before I sold my house and decided that, wow, there's a lot of stuff in here that I could sell. And I think that, I do the same thing. You were talking about Kat the nurse flipper, but go ahead while my cock beats.
All right. So let's talk about accounting for selling fees. I absolutely would keep those in mind when you're deciding. Now, Mercari now is free for resellers, right? Free for selling. I shouldn't say resellers, free for everybody. I am not a big Mercari seller, but if I was doing this again right now, I would absolutely put everything on Mercari and see what the hell happens. I don't think there's really much to lose. I know people kind of lost their minds for a little while. It seemed to me, I don't know about you two, but it seemed to me that there were two camps, right? One thought this was the greatest thing that ever happened, and one thought this was going to be the end of Mercari and how dared they do this to their buyers. Yeah.
You should, by all means, start cross-posting to Mercari, because those low item stuff, Mercari is like a garage sale.
Yeah.
But I'm sending out offers, and then when I have to send out an offer and it's way too low because I've already sent it too much, then I just manually end the item or deactivate it so that I know what it is, and then I just cross-post it again. But that, because Mercari I don't have a ton of sales, but it definitely matters if you cross-post to it. So I would do 10 or 15 a day, and because you don't have your stuff in a catalog, put it in the catalog, and then.
No, I do now. I have quite a bit of it. I could get it cross-posted pretty easily. I just hadn't, because, when Liz, my daughter Liz, runs my business, and when she did, getting her to be able to do what needed to be done was difficult, never mind adding things in. So, but I do agree with you. I think it would be a really good, especially it would be a good exercise to see.
I would tell you to hire my VA and ask her to cross post 15 a day to Macari, and you'll get a bill at the end of the week. And then maybe in a month or 6 weeks, you can see if she's paid for herself.
Yeah.
But that's what I did in the beginning, was have her do that. And then Nicole is now just cross posting in the listing flow, and that's helping. Yeah. But I think that your stuff would probably do really well on Macari.
Well, I mean, so the reason I'm sorry, Doug.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was going to say is the reason I brought that up was thinking about selling fees, you know, mostly 20%. That's kind of what I feel like. That's kind of the.
For mental math, I used to do 15 and now I just do 20.
I do 20 also. Yeah. On most platforms, Theresa.
I just do, well, because I don't know where it's going to sell. Correct. So I just, in my mind, if I buy these for 20 and I sell them for 100, then that's going to be $80, you know, plus another 10 to ship. So that's going to be $70. I'm going to make $50 on a $20 investment. Yeah, I'll do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just quick mental math for me.
Yep. Me too.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I like Mercari a lot. I think it's easy to list there. And I think it's not perfect, but I've had probably better success on Mercari than I have had on eBay. I've sold more stuff on Mercari than I have had on eBay. So, and then I just wanted to chime in real quick. I love Kathy's, because I'm the same way. Kathy says, if I'm buying on a website, I consider the quality of the pictures and the status. I totally look at that stuff, unless it's something I really, really want, and then I weigh it. But a lot of times, and again, you guys have heard me talk about this, but back, I don't know if you remember where I used to work at eBay. Back when I were there, we would talk about how important photos are, because that's the first impression, especially on mobile. And you've got a lot of competition. That's the way to stand out. If you've got, crappy photos around you, that's going to help you stand out and get people to click through to your listing. And even if they don't buy, it's going to help you a little bit in that crazy little algorithm. But absolutely. I'm a total fan of good quality photos. I did buy, believe it or not, shockingly, I did buy a book a couple weeks ago with no photo and just a description, but it was so affordable. I'm not going to say I'm cheap, ladies and gentlemen, but let's just say there are times when I'm careful with my money.
Okay.
So Kathy, I call this perceived value, because Trish and I could have the same $3 yellow necklace, and I can take the time. She can say, this is just a $3 necklace I got in this bundle of stuff. I'm just going to take a picture, list it for $5. I'm going to take it. It's a $3 necklace, but I loved it. It went with my favorite dress. And so I'm a little more emotionally invested in it. So I'm going to take a pretty picture and I'm going to do all that. And someone like you, Kathy, is going to say, well, Trish's might not be the better quality because her pictures are not great and this and whatever. And hers
is on record as saying my pictures are freaking great. No, I'm just kidding.
I would just use, my pictures are stock photos. But that I do that because I have a sister that is that way. I call it the Darla factor, because Darla is the snooty little mom that, if I have a pair of sunglasses for $600 and Trish has the same ones for $100, she is going to think that the $100 are cheap knockoffs and not buy them.
Interesting.
So there is that kind of buyer too. But I think in our circle, we all have the thrifting, pay the less, whatever mentality. And so it spills over into our selling. And I really try to get sellers not to think that way.
See, and I am not a thrifter by nature. I am not a thrifter. I am much more a girl who's going to walk in and buy what I want and walk out. I don't really love to shop. I know that's an odd thing for this kind of.
I don't like to shop.
Yeah. So for me, I want to make sure I'm getting what I want, and I want to make sure it has a return policy. Those are the things, because if I get it and it doesn't fit what I'm looking for, I want to be able to send it back. So for me, if you are not offering buyer paid shipping returns, I'm not even looking at you. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who don't feel that way, but that's just for me and my buying habit, because I'll pay shipping. I don't want to pay it both ways. Macari had a glitch with who paid for shipping. I had the buyer pay for shipping, but it was coming up with free shipping in the listing. I posted yesterday and it appears to be fixed. Yeah, I think that Macari had a few glitches when they went over from this whole thing. And so I think they have a few things that are still happening. Yeah. Glad you noticed and glad it's gone now. Theresa, you kind of said this when you were doing it. You factor in shipping costs.
Yes and no. I mean, like, I know my shoes are going to run, here's the thing. I have so much profit. Like I was showing this in 101. Somebody reached out to me, wanted to know if they bought 12 of my beanies, if I would combine shipping. And so the listing that he happened to buy it on was not one that was on sale. The listing that he happened to send me the message on, because some of my hats were on sale. And so I said, yes, I'll sell you as many as you want for $6.99, which is my price of one. And I ended up selling him $368 worth of beanies.
Oh, I thought you meant 368 beanies. I was like,
no, but he bought 12 beanies at, I think I gave him a 10% discount. So $28 a piece, $27 a piece. And my cost was $6 a piece. He paid $7 for shipping. It was just under 10. And I think my average on those hats is somewhere between $15 and $18 profit when I sell one. And I made like $23 profit on every hat. So at 12.
Desiree is so good. She factors in all costs down to the penny, i.e. tissue paper, stickers, and tape.
So, and I think that's good. And I think you absolutely should do that. Now I have a eBay anchor store. So I get $150 every quarter in shipping supplies. I don't need that. I ship every single thing that I sell on whatever platform in eBay mailers with eBay tape and eBay boxes. So I don't really have, I don't have cost in that. My cost would be, X dollars to list it. And I can include that in my cost of goods when I listed my cost of goods. My cost of goods is my cost of goods.
So I kind of figure out my cost of goods and then what I think it will cost to sell it, like my selling fees.
Yeah.
So I have a certain price for my anchor store, a certain price for my shipping supplies, which are very little because I, again, like Theresa, have a anchor store. So I do get that $150 a quarter. But I buy shipping supplies every single month. I mean, every single quarter. That $150 doesn't do enough poly mailers for me. So I buy poly mailers from Amazon almost every month. I mean, almost every quarter. So I add a little, I don't even know. I have it in the other room, maybe 15 cents or something. It's very low. And then how much I think the selling fees are going to be. And then I'm old school. I still have free shipping on some stuff. So then I add that in also.
Interesting. I don't. I should, but I don't. But I mean, I'm so low volume, it probably doesn't matter. But at the old house, I had a shed outside full of broken down boxes of every different size. So when I'd sell something, I'd be out there climbing through boxes.
Let me tell you, the best thing I ever did was get rid of my recycled boxes.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably right. They take up too much room.
They take up a lot of room. They're a lot to maintain. In Arizona, scorpions love cardboard, so I don't like that. But the trade-off is then sometimes I do have to go find one. And the trade-off is sometimes I do have to make one.
So Diane, my friend Diane Lassonde, who runs the New England eBay seller group, she has a thing in her Sella that has like slots, and on it will say, like, she writes, I don't even know what they are, like 9 by 12 by 12 or whatever the box size is. So if it fits between that one and this one, it will go in this slot. If it fits between those, it will go in that. So you have a rough idea of what size box it is. And she has all these slots. And once the slot is filled up, she'll get rid of that box, if that makes sense. Like if she brings it down and those slots are filled, then those slots don't go in. So you only have like, I don't know, 5 to 10, let's say, per slot. And so Todd just wrote Sella in the Sella. It's right. It is the seller in the Sella.
I sold something not too long ago. What did I sell that I had to actually, Nicole? Oh, I sold 2 Pyrex Vision Corningware glass skillets going to France.
Ooh,
That was when I wish I had some boxes I could have messed with.
Uh-huh.
You just moved. It seems crazy that you didn't have any
Well,
boxes.
I do have moving boxes, but I would have liked to have had some more not so deep Amazon boxes, because eBay just came out with a 12 by 12 by 3, I think, box. Like they don't do well with the shallow boxes, eBay. So I don't know. The Minion figured that out. To be honest with you, I did insure it because I'm not quite sure we packed it as well as we could have inside a double box, because so we're going with a wing and a prayer.
So what about market demand? Do you bring that into effect? I'm assuming you do.
Amazon. But I don't think that, I think that Amazon with time of year or whatever, but market demand is something that I don't think that we really, unless you're selling luxury bags or sports cars or whatever. I mean, there's no market demand for my Old Navy hoodie.
No, there's absolutely no demand in anything that I sell. Like market demand is never going to be a thing. And I think for some luxury goods, or even some, goods that happen to be like Lululemon a few years ago was so hot. Like you got it, you could sell it immediately. There are some things like that come in and out. And I think that can be a factor. But in general, I agree with you. What about, do you monitor your competitors? Do you have competitors? How about that?
I don't monitor competitors because I don't give a damn. I mean, again, why would I waste? Because there are people that get wrapped around the axle with monitoring competitors. And I say I get it if you're in a niche, but really I don't. Just shut up and list. Let them do their thing. You do your thing and list a bunch of crap.
Shut up and list. The sticker. I agree with you for the most part. The only thing there are a few sellers who are high volume that I'll look at every once in a while to see if I'm missing the boat on something, if they're doing something that I think maybe I should be, or, because market trends change and the way we list things change. I mean, when I first started, people really tried, like they had these furry rugs and you would put down your thing and you would try to have a background. And then people went to mannequins, but you had something behind it that made it like signature that would stand out and stuff like that. And now, what'd you say?
I have no time for that.
And now we have either most people use background remover or just white. But there are people who sell sneakers who use AI. So I do think keeping abreast of these things, is helpful.
Did you say keeping abreast?
I did. Who would have thought that out of the 3 of us, i.e. not Doug, that Theresa would have been the one who said something about that comment?
I'm not sleazy.
I did.
Luckily, Brian Hargis isn't here.
Oh, that was great.
So
okay.
What about like things like bundles, discounts, deals for multiple purchases?
Well, Theresa just talked about it a second ago.
Yeah, and I mean, if somebody reaches out to me and says, "Will you do this?" Yeah, I mean, he just asked me to combine ship me. He didn't ask me to. I mean, I shipped 11 of them for free, but and it cost me $3. Who cares? I made a ton, but it depends. I really wanted to push. I went through all my listings. This was an event for me because I had a bunch of hats that weren't listed yet because I need UPC codes for them. So I went through those to see which ones weren't listed, quickly cross-posted them to eBay, and gave him the links, and he wanted these 3, and then he changed his mind, and then one wasn't there. Like, it was an event for me. And then he wanted me to ship them by Monday. I did all this early Sunday morning, and then he didn't buy it until the middle of the night, Sunday night. I was like, dude. So yeah, and then sometimes people will say, if I buy this and this, and I'll do that. What I won't do is will you split this listing for me? Because that means I got to create a whole new listing. I got to go get it. I got to do new pictures, and ain't nobody got time for that. I said, I'm sorry, we can't do that, but you could buy it, keep the ones you want, and resell the others, just like I would have done.
Well, I just like that Tiffany Clark wrote, loving the sales analytics on LP. I like seeing I'm making 3 to 4 times my cost of goods after fees and shipping. Yeah, that's awesome, Tiffany. And I think we expect that to become more robust.
She might be using the old version because that gives you your, she may not have Pro Plus, because the catalog version gives you the net profit right there. But in the Pro Plus and Sales Analytics page, that hasn't been built yet. So it will be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it's going to become more and more robust as the time goes on, is what I was going to just say. She has business. Yeah. So, right. Good. I'm glad you're using it, Tiffany. Good for you.
It is my favorite. I love when I'm shipping, getting that instant feedback of what my net profit is. In the new analytics page, they're going to include what your ROI is and what your ROI on the that listing percentage wise, so you would know that it's 400 times your cost of goods or whatever. It's going to do that calculation for you.
That's a tease, ladies and gentlemen, a little off the shoulder tease from Theresa Cox, which is, it sometimes happens.
So I am probably, Jill just wrote, waiting patiently for that more robust analytics.
Jill, you and I both. So here's the thing. I used to be in these development meetings, and I'm not anymore. So I am in the dark like the rest of you guys. So I'm just going on what I remember them telling me back in 1902 when I used to go to those meetings.
So I personally don't look at analytics at all, so I'm going to stay away from this conversation. But for me, I do offer bundles and discounts. If anyone asks me, I'll make you a deal. I always have deals going on all of them. I have deals always. I think they entice people, and so I'm always having a deal. And I really like the ones that encourage, to buy more than one item. Not that it happens as often as I wish, but I try.
Yes,
for sure.
But I'll give Theresa and you, Trish, credit for being the willingness to be flexible for your buyers. Be flexible.
I definitely am.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that are hardcore. When I get hardcore is when I have an item listed for $65 and somebody offers me $20, and then we go back and forth because I will negotiate, and I'm like, then they offer me $21, and I'm like, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
go ahead. No, I was going to say, we have some close friends that are pretty hardcore in their seller communications and don't hide it. But I love Trish's approach. Is like, you're like, the margin's not that big. I'll give you free returns, send it back, and you just relist it.
I do. I say that. I'll say,
Yeah.
and especially if it has free shipping, I'll say, I'm really sorry. This is as absolutely low as I can go. The shipping's going to cost me X. I even sometimes spell it out. The seller fees are going to cost me this, which leaves me this, but I have free returns. So if you'd like to try it, I'm more than happy to send it to you. Sometimes I think buyers need a little education, and I sometimes think they see free shipping or free this, and they don't understand that we're paying for it. I don't think they understand sometimes how it all works. So
thanks, Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. And I also Amazon has made everyone believe that they're buying from Amazon. They think they're buying from eBay, which is kind of like Walmart. It's this big conglomeration that they think, oh, I'm buying from the man. And I will say, I'm a small run, family owned business, blah, 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 blah. Pollyanna my way through it because I want them to know, they're buying from a person, and maybe you need to calm down a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Amazon, I mean, every pair of shoes that gets returned costs me like $16, even though I ship it out myself, because Amazon. So if my payout is $75 and somebody returns the shoes, Amazon doesn't take $75 away from me. They take $89 away from me.
Yeah. I mean, playing Amazon is a completely different animal. And you are absolutely right, Jill. Now you're not.
Walmart.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. There's a lot of other places that offer third-party seller.
Target.
Egghead. Is it? No, what is it? Is that the electronic store?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Egghead. Home Depot.
Newegg.
Newegg, thank you.
Egghead was, but that's old. They're not around.
Was there an Egghead before?
90s.
No, Patrick Almond, you should not buy 2 sizes and try them on and return the one back because it cost me $16. You know it. When you ship those out and somebody buys a medium and a large, you know you're getting one of those back because they're leaving on Friday and they don't know which one to get and they need to know which to pack in their suitcase. And it's just part of the game. It's not fun. And well, just like when I sell shoes, I say this all the time because it annoys the heck out of me. When I sell somebody a new pair of football cleats and they want to return it and they return me last season's cleats.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
And I can't do anything but eat it because, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just Amazon and they're just big company. And I have to eat those shoes. They don't taste very good.
How were these people raised? I think that's what it comes down to. How were you raised? Be honest. Don't say
I really think they don't understand
Yeah.
that it's us. People don't understand that we're over here buying and selling stuff. I really don't think that's true. I mean, how many of us have said we're resellers to people and they literally have no idea what the hell we're talking about? What do you mean you're a reseller? What does that mean? What do you do?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think some of it's in education, which is why my little Pollyanna thing comes in and I try to be nice and try to just give a little bit of explanation. And I do think killing people with kindness is usually the best way, personally.
Good customer service.
Exactly. And I'm going to say, stay flexible. If you sit on something too long, you also don't want to bite off your nose to spite your face. That's why I would say to everybody, this is my opinion. I say this in Mastermind every day. It's my opinion. You can take it or you can leave it. You don't have to do just because I say it doesn't mean it's right for you and your business. I think when you accept offers on eBay, I think having automatic accept is fine. I think having automatic decline is a bad idea. I think you should interact with every single person who sends you something. If they send you an offer that's ridiculous, nicely tell them why it was ridiculous and see if you can get them to come up. I think an automatic acceptance is fine. It's the decline I have a problem with.
Yeah,
Agree.
That's a touch point opportunity to make a sale and then hopefully develop a customer for long term, as they say.
Or a pen pal, whatever you want.
Or a pen pal. And some people have niches where people are going to come back again and again and again, right? Nisha is a jewelry seller. She's in Mastermind in the morning. I think she has the ability to build up a relationship with jewelry collectors who are going to come back and see what she has. I don't think that's my niche. I don't think people are saying, oh, Super Sale Trish had great jeans this week. No one cares. They're searching through search to find the jeans they want. So for me, I just want to make sure that you're going to come back to eBay. I feel a sense of responsibility that I don't annoy you to the point where you don't want to use eBay anymore. That's me personally. Jill, I have verbiage. I type in every single offer telling them that it is already on sale, but I can offer or an additional 10% off. And since I instituted this, I have converted close to 50% of the sales. Totally awesome, Jill. Agree completely.
Kill them. And kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
But that's great. A good policy.
For sure.
Oh, show. And then, the last point I think we have today ties into, I think research and looking at different price points and looking what's selling. And then, just kind of coordinating that with your target audience. And Theresa loves A/B testing.
I was going to say A/B testing. If you're somebody who has multiples of something, A/B testing can be a great thing. It really wouldn't work for my business, but it would probably work for Theresa's. And Theresa loves the data. So if she could figure out this hat would sell better at $25, but with free shipping comparatively to 15 with added shipping or whatever you know what I'm saying.
Yep. And I do that sometimes, but not a lot, because I'm not, I'm too busy listing. Then I want to play around with this stuff. I mean, most of my stuff is listed and forget it, if we want to be honest.
Kathy, I will tell you in the morning. I love Kathy so much. I will tell you all about it in the morning, Kathy.
You don't want me to just say it right now?
Sure, you can, but she'll want to discuss it because she is a thorough girl. But you go ahead.
There we go. Kathy, so real quick, A/B testing is like where you have one way of doing something and then another way. So one is A, one is B, and you look at both and you see which worked better, what you can learn from that. A lot of times it's done with websites. Is you have a page, like you'll have a page like this, and maybe your page has pictures up at the top. Your A page has pictures up at the top. Your B page has pictures further down the page, and you see who's looking at more, who's staying on more. Same thing with like a listing. Like I believe it or not, have a ton of cookbooks to sell. So I could do A/B testings with that, different types of A/B testings, different price points, I could try, what sells for free shipping, what sells for, charge shipping, or different pictures, things like that. Maybe if I'm pretending to read the cookbook and pretending to cook, maybe those would sell more.
Maybe they would.
Yeah, probably not, though.
Probably not, but maybe.
You never know, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this was fun. I hope this was helpful to you guys. And
I feel like I have homework to do.
If anyone has any topics that they would like us to discuss, please let us know.
Definitely. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We're wrapping it up. Don't forget, I got to look over at the handy dandy wall calendar. Don't forget, we do this List Perfectly Reseller Tips. We do this every Wednesday at 3 Pacific here on the YouTube and in multiple Facebook destinations. I think I'm going to start streaming on my own page too, just so 2 or 3 more people see. And then on Fridays at 11 Pacific, we have the Clara and Amanda Live, where they each week have a topic and interview a seller. This has been put out there, and we are still, gearing up. We're going to have the fabulous Cat, the Nurse Flipper, on Friday. So that's going to be great. Flipping with the cat, or flipping with Cat, the Nurse Flipper. Flipping with the Cat, the Nurse Flipper.
Flipping it with Cat, the Nurse Flipper.
Flipping it with Cat, the Nurse
Flipping
Flipper.
it.
And then this week on the podcast just released this morning, we have Clark and Marie Bartron on the show, and they talk about their sourcing and how they source differently. And interestingly, I was talking to them in that live, and then in this podcast this week, Marie tells a story about how she sources with her daughter, and they source differently, and sometimes take each other's stuff. And then I said, hey, I once interviewed a mom-daughter team, and they do that, and that's crazy. And then I realized later in the live that it was them I had talked to last year at Camp Listing Party. So,
ladies and gentlemen, poor Doug is losing the marbles.
That's right. But yeah, and then
in an hour on Listing Party, there is the creative conversations with Star and Dawn.
Yes.
And take this opportunity to promote to these 20-something wonderful people the webinar we're doing next week.
Yeah. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a webinar, and I will put the link in here real quick. So it's a webinar where we are doing with Helpsy, and we're going to talk about selling and sustainability, what they do, how they contribute to it, how they work. And
also on sourcing, not just sustainability.
Yes, sourcing and sustainability. Yeah. So let me see, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if I can find my notes.
And it is not just for LP. It's for anybody. It's going to be open to the public. So you don't have to belong to LP. So it's for anybody. And we'd love to see you guys come.
Yeah, you just have to register beforehand. But I will also tease this. I'll take the kimono off my shoulder a little bit and tease you about we are going to have some webinars upcoming, more webinars we're going to do. And so keep an eye out for those. And we're going to do something super cool and special later this summer that you've been asking about. So there you go, ladies.
Pool party at Diane's.
Pool party at Diane's.
Well, that's happening, but I don't know if everyone's invited.
Well, let's plug that real quick. So Monday,
Monday night.
Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Monday morning, we're doing coffee talk with Diane and some of her friends. She's got a bunch of people coming into town for the New England eBay area resellers meetup. So we're going to do a morning thing. And then at 3 Pacific here in the old YouTube, we are going to stream live with them, from them. Trish will be there. A bunch of sellers from actually across the nation are going to be there. It's going to be an all-star seller gathering.
Event. Yeah. So Diane has been sick and things are a little bit more complicated. So a whole bunch of people are coming in. So it'll be fun. So we'll have Doug's going to come and do some broadcasting from California. I will be in Boston with them and it'll be fun. So please come. It will be just a good time. It won't be no heavy hitting.
There you go. We'll have a good time, as we do here. But thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.